We're here with Mike Dudas, who's the co-founder and the Chief Revenue Officer for Button. I think it's fair to say that some people might not know what Button is. So let's just give us the 1 minute overview of what Button is, first of all.
Absolutely. Please. Well, thank you for having me. So Button is the mobile partnerships platform that many industries need. So the travel industry being one of them. And by mobile partnerships, what we mean is if a publisher, so somebody like TripAdvisor, a meta search engine, a big company that sees a lot of folks who are developing intent to purchase something, wants to actually help their customers buy something or book something, on mobile, it's very difficult today. There's multiple platforms, iOS and Android, mobile web, and we've all had terrible booking experiences on mobile. That being said, there are many mobile apps, Hotels.com, Expedia, Booking.com, that are exceptional. It's just that those connections between the publishers and the booking agents or the merchants haven't been built. Button builds the piping, the tools, and the partnerships to help these massive companies connect, streamline their user journeys, and increase their conversions and revenue.
So what do you mean by streamline their journeys?
Absolutely. So I think all of us have probably spent time clicking an ad or clicking a link on a mobile device, right, and we end up in the App Store, or we end up on some non-mobile optimized page, or truly a place that we didn't intend to be. And most of us are not, we don't even know how we got there, so how do we get back? How do we find that starting point? And we give up in frustration. Button has an intelligent linking system, an SDK that routes people properly to the place that we've learned over years of A/B testing, where they want to end up and where they convert best.
Okay, so you're here at the Phocuswright Conference this week. You're doing one of their workshops, and it goes by the title because it's worth reading out the full title. Optimizing meta search on mobile, follow the customer journey.
Absolutely.
So just give us an overview of what you're going to be talking about and why it's important that you're talking about it this week.
Unquestionably. So the problem statement I just described is one that we are solving in specific cases. So today I'm going to highlight a number of those cases. One example would be Skyscanner, one of the largest and best meta search engines in the world. Button has been working with Skyscanner and with Hotels.com, who is a longtime partner of Button, to ensure that if a Hotels.com user has the app installed and they tap a link in Skyscanner on a hotel search, that they are sent directly into the app. As of a year ago, they wouldn't have been sent into the app. They would have been sent to a mobile website. None of their payment information would have been stored. They would have had to type 150 characters in to get to that page they want to get to purchase. And all that information already exists. So we're solving the problem of making that connection right.
So you're going to be talking a little bit about that. Presumably that's a case study that you're going to be talking about today. What's some of the other elements you're going to be mentioning?
So we would like to, I don't think most product managers and P&L owners at these companies are aware, in fact I know they're not, of the tools, particularly on the publisher and the meta search side, of these routing and linking tools. Many people just accept that the routing that they do today and the links they're getting from traditional affiliate networks, and that the links, the static links that aren't intelligent that they're getting from merchants like hotel chains and airlines, are what they have to live with because they haven't seen something better. So we're here to educate and really show that there's a better solution and that it has a 10, 20, 30% revenue uplift potential that these folks weren't even aware of.
So when you're talking of revenue uplift potentials, even if you get to double figures, people's ears prick up a little bit and they say, okay, well that's quite good, but you're talking 25 plus.
In a market where we're talking pennies at insane volume drives massive revenue uplift, right? So if TripAdvisor, Skyscanner, Kayak can see even a fraction of a penny more per tap, that they're driving downstream, that means the bids will be higher from the OTAs, from the hotels, from the airlines, and at the volume of engagement that they're seeing, this means meaningful revenue and moves the needle significantly.
Yeah, what's quite interesting is this, your business and your product and your solution didn't need to exist just 4 or 5 years ago, did it? Really?
Exactly. In a desktop world where people were booking, where 70% of people weren't starting their journey and their discovery on mobile, which is happening today, it was a very easy problem. I mean, you clicked a URL on a desktop site, you knew where that was going. The open web was much, much easier to navigate, not just for the travel industry, but for every industry, for shopping, you name it, than mobile, where you have these closed ecosystems, these proprietary linking structures. And they have introduced, we know about the problems and the costs they've introduced for the travel companies in terms of, paying for Google search, paying for Facebook advertising, but I think an undercovered aspect is just the ability to acquire and link and route customers to the right places, not only in paid channels, but also if TripAdvisor, if Skyscanner, if Hotels.com sends an email to their customer and they click a link in that email on mobile, you don't know where it's going. So we're solving those problems for them.
I mean, the most obvious thing to ask you about is instant booking.
Yep, absolutely.
So what is your broad view on instant booking as a concept? Because that kind of goes against what you do, right?
Unquestionably, and I will address that in my presentation, so I'm glad you brought that up.
Yep.
And I believe that I'm uniquely positioned to discuss this because in my past, in my last company, I worked at Braintree, which is on the forefront. I was head of mobile business development for Braintree and worked on Braintree's implementation with Skyscanner of direct booking, which is a best-in-class execution. Okay. What I believe is that what I know is that every single merchant, every single airline, every single hotel chain, every single OTA has different payment processors, has multiple payment processors in different countries. It is exceptionally complex for a publisher, a meta search engine, to set up direct booking with just one merchant that they deal with. So to do that and repeat that across hundreds is exceptionally challenging. So direct booking is certainly a best-in-class experience for the user and for the publisher where it works. But it is simply absolutely not going to work for every single path or search that a user does in a meta search engine because there are many, many airlines, many hotel chains, and many OTAs who are not going to accept it, who will not allow a customer of theirs to book in a meta search site.
And I suppose so many airlines and hotels in particular, they would still own the customer, but they want to get involved in upselling and cross-selling.
Upsell,
and
remarketing.
If they're doing that on the meta search site, that's arguably more difficult, isn't it?
It unquestionably is, and then you get into the next question. So there's the payment issue you're talking about, and then there's the data sharing, right? So these agreements are really, really complex. There's no question, I would agree. Like I've always pushed direct booking where it works and where it's feasible. The other thing is to get consistency of direct booking, right? So if you implement it as a meta search engine or TripAdvisor or any other company that wants to do direct booking, Facebook is doing this. What you find is because of the payment complexities and the different user flows, each direct booking experience is different and the customer gets confused. So if I'm on Facebook, who's now doing direct booking, or Yelp, right, and I book with OpenTable, I book with Seamless, it's different than if I book with Uber or somebody else, and it just gets really confusing.
Obviously, you are going to say they should work with us, but the question is what should brands generally do to kind of meet this challenge as well as working with you?
Yeah, so I'll skip the work with us part because I'm giving a workshop on that. So I think so I know that the first thing that brands should do is recognize, so on the publisher side, that they need to create better customer journeys. The revenue per tap on mobile is significantly lower for the largest meta search engines and other discovery points for travel, okay? The reason that is because the linking is inconsistent, people aren't ending up in the right places, and it's not optimized, okay? We're one tool that they can use. There certainly are others. On the merchant side, there's just far too many people who aren't allowing the customer to deep link. So on the web, you link straight to the property page for any OTA or any hotel site. On mobile, you often will link directly to the homepage. You have to do the search again within the OTA that you just did on the meta search. So, I mean, these are really rudimentary, and what I would say is the product managers need to get educated on the tools that are out there. I've worked with a number of folks who are very well educated, a number of folks who aren't, and just don't know what's out there. They need to be curious, need to do the research.
Yeah. One trend that's kind of nascent at the moment, but I think it's really important because it is the kind of the next wave really. We've had we used typewriters, and then we used computers, and then we used a mouse, and then we used a finger, and the next thing is search. It's voice search. So what does that do to what you're doing? Does it make it more complex, or what?
So it truly depends on how the voice ecosystem evolves. So the one person I would recommend above any to follow on this is a man named Brian Roemmele, Roemmele. Voice commerce is his thing, and it's a really big thing that every single brand we talk to is working with. But it's very, very early, and it's hard to understand. Amazon's ecosystem is going to be closed within certain retail areas. To develop an Alexa skill, which Button actually did on behalf of Uber in a test environment, is a lot of work for us. For today, very little usage.
I was going to say, how did that work out?
So they then did it themselves, and it's just not seeing anywhere near the type of usage as the mobile app. I think folks are a little too early. They're investing too much in something that is probably 12 months, and I'm the classic case of doing things too early. I was the merchant partnerships lead at Google Wallet in 2011, which we're only starting to see Android Pay and Apple Pay really take off now. Voice commerce, it's a little too early to be focusing on that when the basics of mobile experiences haven't shaped up and aren't working properly, and when we don't know which ecosystems are going to win. We know Google will be a player in voice commerce. We know Alexa will be with Amazon. Microsoft, I think it's TBD. And Facebook, they're going to come into this at some point. They haven't yet in a meaningful way.
And finally, how do you think this all kind of shakes out over the next few years? Your business and your solution is a real time and a place type thing. It's solving a problem that's happening, that brands are experiencing right now. But if we're talking 2 or 3 years' time, what do you think you need to have evolved to as a business it's going to happen?
We need to certainly take into account we're only valuable if we can help these brands touch the consumer through every interaction method. So voice commerce being one, AR, VR being another. But the big thing that I think we're going to see, and we're already seeing, is consolidation. So there's this massive consolidation, as you know, happening on the publisher side. There's only a few massive scaled travel companies, and it's continuing to happen, right? There's Google, there's Expedia, Priceline, Ctrip, and you're going to continue to see that consolidation. So for us to succeed, we need to be working with those companies. Same thing's happening on the fulfillment side. There's the major airlines, major hotels, the OTAs are massive, and so you need to be working with those folks, and we just have to hope that they do maintain open APIs and are friendly and work within the ecosystem. There's a lot of risk there in that concentration.
Indeed.
Uber is, right, they're doing more commerce by far, 5x more than literally any other mobile company in terms of transactions. So there's a bigger parallel. You see the stats about Facebook having 30% share of time spent on the phone. If you look at the different commerce categories, Amazon is 10x the nearest US competitor. They had something like 48% share of e-commerce. It's insane. Walmart, I think was next with 4% or 3%. You look across any category on mobile, and it's insane. It's not the power law really, but just the share that the leaders have. So that presents risk to solution providers like us, and you have to be working with the big guys to succeed.
Okay, that's great. So thank you very much for spending some time with us, telling us all about Button, and good luck. Thank you.